A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, it is a period of scraping by for the sake of your sueñito. In a disappearing neighborhood where the streets are made of music, a community of people will assert their dignity in small ways and make a lot of noise as they carve out their place in the world. Life, love, and dreams are all happening in the Heights. We had some technical issues on this episode, and I tried to clean them up as best I could, but I apologize for the fuzzy audio. I wasn't able to get everything. Hello there, and welcome back to 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni. Joining me today, Jasmine Garcia.
Hi, I will be semi-taking over this podcast for the day.
Callie Castle.
Hi, my name is Callie. This was a fun movie.
And Sydney McGahee.
I would rap my introduction, but I'm not a good rapper, so I'm just going to say hi.
Depending on who you ask, they would say that didn't stop Lynn, but...
Hey y'all, good morning. We're talking in the Heights.
Yay!
We have a degree 3 thanks to the presence of the one, the only Jimmy Smits. My God.
Who keeps on playing the fathers of my favorite characters.
3 nickels, Jazz.
3 nickels.
The space DILF.
Yeah. Yes, so this man has played the father of Leia Organa, Amy Santiago, and now Nina Rosario, who is arguably the most important one to me.
It is also worth mentioning we have Ariana Greenblatt in the cast too as young Nina, so young Ahsoka is young Nina.
Yeah.
So, In the Heights, God, what a bummer that this movie bombed. I saw it in theaters.
So did I.
It was the first movie I saw after my vaccine.
You know, seeing this, you remember why John M. Chu was a good choice for Wicked. But we're not here to talk about Wicked.
That comes later.
But no, like ever since Crazy Rich Asians, I was saying this man needs to direct a musical. And then it was announced he's directing In the Heights, and I'm just like, because as I was explaining to Sam before we started recording, the show is super important to me. I saw the original Broadway cast when I was 15, and we need to really keep in mind, like, as far as Latinas in musical theater went, it was pretty slim pickings for a very long time. Basically, if I wanted to represent that side of my culture, because obviously I'm very white passing, so I could technically, but it was basically either Mimi Marquez or Maria and Anita in West Side Story.
Mm.
And then you got this show. And Nina Rosario, even back before I was the burnt out part of the gifted and talented people, she was me. And it's only gotten worse ever since I became more burnt out.
Okay, quick show of hands. How many people have either seen In the Heights or been in the Heights, the stage version? Because I have listened to the cast album exactly once, and I did not have the time to watch anything from it because bootlegging is illegal and that is bad. I would never encourage anybody to bootleg or do that myself. What are you talking about? You wouldn't download a car.
So yeah, not only have I seen it on Broadway, I have seen 2 productions at the Shakespeare Theater in Orlando. This show means the world to me. And so, yeah, of course I was excited about the movie. And yeah, for the most part, I do adore this movie, but also I have gripes with it adaptationally.
Sid, what about you? Performed in it, saw a touring version, saw it in New York?
I'm going to put my head down in shame while I say this. I did watch the bootleg. I listened to the cast recording. I listened to the film soundtrack. I actually did see the film twice. I saw it the first time because there was like an early screening thing you could watch virtually, and I luckily got the chance to watch that, and I saw it in theaters.
Cool. So, Callie, I think you and I are the ones who have not seen the stage show, and the movie was our first intro.
You would be correct.
Callie, you want to tell them the revelation you had last night?
That I never technically finished the movie till last night?
Wait, what?
Okay, so I got my sister and I like promo tickets through like those email services that they have where it's like, hey, come see advanced screening of movie. And my sister has no ability to be on time to anything ever at all. So not only did I miss like the first 5 to 10 minutes of the beginning of the film, my sister got a migraine.
I know.
And we missed like the last 45 minutes.
Hi, Bendito.
At the last word, so you left like right when Alabanza was happening?
Maybe it might have been 30, but I know I didn't remember any of the end. I don't remember because she got a migraine, so I was a little more focused on that.
Yeah, valid.
Aw.
Also,
Yeah.
hi, Bendito.
So I will get personal with this. Not as personal as I'm going to get in Phantom Menace, but suffice to say, this was a hard rewatch for me since seeing it in the theaters because since then, my own grandmother has passed away, and god damn it, there is absolutely nothing in my grandmother's story that reflects everything Claudia went through, but my god, did I start crying, like her looking over at everybody in the blackout, and oh my god,
Oh, Sam, I know.
I got most of the tears out already, but god, gut punch, and I will always be in favor of good Broadway performances getting preserved on film. Not talking about you, Ben!
Talk about the Tonys does kind of work out because, of course, the original Broadway show did win several Tonys, including Best Musical that year. It was the first time we saw Lynn do an accepted speech in rap.
Even if the sound check on the Tonys that year was terrible.
Yeah, I do
I
remember
think the sound is always atrocious at the Tonys.
Yeah, but they got a bunch of other people from the original Broadway cast. Like, most of the ensemble dancers are from the Broadway cast. You have Chris Jackson as Mr. Softy and Lin-Manuel Miranda as Pierre Aguero.
Which,
What a great time.
I believe it's Mandy Gonzalez who's voicing the Stanford rep on the phone.
Oh,
but I could be
that.
wrong.
Oh, I love
Jazz,
Mandy.
you want to tell them what you realized about the whole music?
I knew that from the first time I saw it, that it was You'll Be Back.
Da, 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 da.
I didn't realize that till last night. When Jazz told me.
Well, yeah, but you also left the movie because your sister had a migraine.
But that's like in the first hour of the movie, so I did see that part.
I mean, I don't know. When was the last time you listened to the Hamilton soundtrack? I guess it has been a while for you, probably.
I mean, I listened to it, but it's just like, I'm not observant, bestie.
Okay.
And Olga Moretti retrieved her role as Claudia.
As Abuela Claudia, yes.
Right.
She's still probably a little younger than Abuela Claudia would have been, but she's at least closer to what the age would have been than when she played her on Broadway.
And if they were using makeup to age her up, it worked.
Oh, very much so, yeah. Like,
you compare that to her being on stage for the Hollywood Bowl a couple of years later for Encanto in concert, and she looks fantastic there.
yeah, no, like, there is a type. There is a type of little old Latina lady in the neighborhood. I live... My across the street neighbor is literally one of them. Love Ida. But
so is mine, yeah.
I do love that this movie adds her bit about, asserting our dignity in quiet ways, because that's not from the show at all, but I think that's a really good addition there. And it's just kind of something I think every marginalized community has to do to a certain degree.
I mean, I can't speak to that. My version of being marginalized is being Irish, so what? Kevin Rosario bought the cab company from one of my people?
Yeah, probably. Also, I forgot that Patrick Page was in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
He decided he is the embodiment of capitalism, and he is staying booked and busy.
And we love
I respect it.
Yep. Yep.
He was like that in Smigadoon too,
Of course he was.
Yep, and he's like that in the Gilded Age. It's so funny. In the Gilded Age, he literally plays a character who's like, it's fine, have the National Guard fire on the striking workers. Patrick Page, you found your niche.
And he seems happy.
That doesn't sound familiar at all. I wonder where he could have found the inspiration for that character. We need to find him. We need to find that out. Do an interview about what other projects might have inspired that character.
And this is why you can't have theater kids on a podcast episode about In the Heights, because we're just gonna start going down Broadway rabbit holes.
Well, you know what? I will write this train a little bit here. Even from the very beginning, as a fan, And also as someone who's had family who did grow up in that area, it was like just the opening was just like, yep, as much as yes, there is criticisms to be made about the authenticity of it, there is something that still feels very emotionally real. And listen, like they're even making the kind of breakfasts that my Titi Mercedes would make whenever we visited in Santo Domingo.
Those breakfasts look so good. The entire opening number is just a masterclass.
Absolutely. John Chu is one of the few directors out there who is thrilled to be directing musicals.
Todd.
Yeah, the visuals in this movie are fantastic. I'm thinking of, well, we'll get to this number, 96,000. That's obviously a standout.
Yep. And also shout out to my girl Melissa Barrera.
Yes.
There it is.
You knew it was coming. You knew
Yes,
it.
it had to come.
I knew it was coming. I didn't know how long it would take.
I already loved her from this, because keep in mind, this did technically come out before Scream 5 did. Then they threw her into Scream 5, and I'm like, oh, okay. So this actress is just attaching herself to things that are made specifically for me. Also, it's just so funny because I don't know how many of you have seen the promo for the Broadway show where they literally have Lynn running down the aisles of a bodega. Like it felt so reminiscent of even just that. Like I think I have seen parallel gift sets of those two things. It's just, yep, Anthony Ramos, you really are his mentee or whatever.
Yeah, still not cool with what you did to Jasmine, though.
No, but
Other
this,
Jasmine.
yeah, no, yeah, not
Tú
to me.
eres
He has not done
lesbiano.
yes, he has not done anything wrong specifically to me. And rewatching this did remind me, oh yeah, that's right, you're actually really a really good actor. And shockingly pretty good at embodying US Nabi's nerdy side, in spite of the fact that I was a little skeptical when I first heard it was going to be him, because I'm just like, he's too pretty.
Yeah.
He's very pretty and he has a lot of swagger that doesn't always come through on Usnavi's more, like, awkward moments.
But he mostly makes it work.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Like the scene before with the tied to go pin, that was
Yeah,
no notes.
That one works, but what I think really helps his performance is every single time they film him looking out a window and everybody's reflected back in it, but he's not part of it. He's separated from his community. Oh my god, I love that so much.
Gee, I definitely don't feel that way at all as someone as part of the Dominican American diaspora who grew up in the suburbs or anything and grew up with very light skin. So I was too Latino for the white rich kids, but not quite Latino enough for my fellow Latinos in school or anything. I'm sorry.
Pan caliente?
What?
I asked if you wanted a pan caliente or something. I don't know. I don't have a cookie to offer you.
You're very sweet. No, I'm fine. But yeah.
I was going to ask, do you want to talk about the Nina, Benny, and her father storyline?
I sure fucking do, because that is one of my biggest gripes in this movie. Like, I described it to Callie last night. It's like, as good as this movie is, it's kind of like this beautiful statue recreation of someone you love, but they're missing an arm.
So, my theory as to why they cut Kevin Rosario being racist to Benny has entirely to do with the fact that Leslie Grace is Afro-Dominican.
It could definitely be that, which, for the record, Leslie Grace is so good in this. Release Batgirl, you cowards!
But I'm not saying that there aren't people who are in interracial marriages who are also racist. You know who you are.
Yep.
But, like, the angle that they've taken on Kevin in this, like, I can get why they wouldn't want to make him a racist, because in 2021, we were definitely at a point where it's like, if you like someone, they can't be a racist.
Yeah. And here's the thing, it's not even so much that I think we absolutely 100% needed the racism angle, even though I think it's part of why the show itself is so powerful, but they didn't really replace it with much of anything for Benny specifically. Like, Benny very much gets sidelined in this adaptation. I actually really love a lot of what they added to it. It's just a real shame that Benny doesn't really get a story in this, and his and Nina's romance, it starts off great, the ending's great, but we kind of lose a lot of the middle. There are so many really great songs that did unfortunately get cut, like Inútil, Sunrise, Enough. I am so mad that
Everything
they.
I know.
Mm-hmm. And like, I feel like fridging Camilo Rosario was a mistake, actually, because enough
Yeah.
is such a cathartic moment in the show where she's just telling both her husband and her daughters, like, stop it! You're being stupid!
I feel like this movie put so much attention on his Navi and
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa's romance. Like, we kind of got breadcrumbs for, like, everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very annoying. I also didn't like the way they handled Nina dropping out. Like, in the show, she flunks out. It's explained she flunks out because she was working so much. She didn't have time to study. And she eventually failed other classes. Here, it's like she
Mm-hmm.
dropped out because she didn't belong, or like she
Mm-hmm.
felt like she, which isn't like, I'm not saying like that's a bad change. I'm just saying, I think her flunking out, I think they're both relatable to an extent, but I feel like flunking out because it also highlights privilege. I'm sure like a lot of students at Stanford, they don't need to like work like 40, 60 hours a week just so they can like afford some
Mm-hmm.
of their tuition or textbooks or food or whatever they need. They have mommy or daddy's money.
Yeah, basically, like, honestly, I think both of the reasons for her leaving could have coexisted peacefully in this story. Like
Yeah.
I think you kind of have, like, pretty much most of the additions they make in this movie I actually do really like. I just wish they could have coexisted with some of the stuff that they ended up cutting out. I recognize this movie is already pretty long, so it would have been tricky.
It is interesting at the end of No Me Diga, which No Me Diga might actually be my favorite number in the movie.
Valid.
Just because I love the choreography and like how animated it is. I love the little bobbing wigs. I love the clacking of the nails. But at the end, they're talking about what might have happened and like the proposal that Nina has gotten knocked up. Apparently, that was like a riff that on something that a producer suggested because they didn't think it would make sense for Nina to burn out for just the reasons of burning out.
Yep.
And
I mentioned that to Callie.
Lynn and Chiara Alegria Hudes, they were like, no, it's enough that she's just struggling in this elitist institution.
Literally the reason why the producer suggested is like the stakes weren't high enough. So what if she's pregnant or if she's on drugs? And like Lynn, he was like aghast. So I am glad that they had that little joke there. Although Dasha Polenko, I love you. Your character's kind of a nothing character. I would have gladly traded you in for Camila. I'm sorry.
I mean, this isn't even the first time Lynn's done something like this. I was on Tumblr and I went down a rabbit hole and I found the Les Mis in the Heights Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS thing.
True.
Like people get burned out. Like it just happens. It's just so weird. Like it's as if people can't imagine that struggling to struggle happens. Like it doesn't have to be more complicated than it is. Real life is weirder than fiction. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. And it's just so disgusting and gross.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming from a place of insane privilege to think losing your scholarship isn't high stakes enough.
Like what in the caucasity?
Yeah.
My fellow white people need to sit down and shut the fuck up.
Thank you.
I was also going to say they give Vanessa a reason why she wants to leave. Like they give her a motivation. She's a fashion designer in this. I'm happy because in the musical she was like, I just want to leave.
In fairness, it's implied heavily in the musical her mother is an alcoholic and she's trying to get away from her. But yeah, they give her so much more personality in this, and frankly, I do love the fashion design angle, and I'm sorry, I just want to see the world through her eyes might be one of the most romantic lines I ever heard.
Another great musical thing, she's running down the street and the fabric is rolling over the city, and then you pull out, it's in her eye. Oh, God. Love
Again,
it.
John Chu understands that you gotta go big with musicals.
Oh, God, I love it.
Musicals are big. They are a spectacle. You sing because the words are not enough. You have to make it big, bold, loud, expressionist, and he gets it. He understands it. He throws that in your face. He makes you understand it's a musical.
Maybe if they'd gotten John Chu on board, Apple wouldn't have pulled the plug on Schmigadoon, but that's for another time.
Yeah, we'll cry about that later.
I'm so sad about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say about the club scene with Usnavi and Vanessa. What he says after they're out of the club, that rubbed me the wrong way the first time, and the second time I watched it, I hated that line. and I wish he did not say that.
Honestly, giving Vanessa this much depth makes Usnavi way worse.
A little bit.
Because Raleigh and Snappy would never say that. Wouldn't even
No.
think of saying that. Never.
Yeah, because that moment was supposed to be a moment where Benny and Nina were fighting because Benny was bitter that he was just about to lose his job. And, you know, because he's drunk, he kind of blames her for it, which isn't fair, of course. But, you know, they end up fighting. It's just like the I don't need anything tonight. That's Nina saying that. But then they kind of end up colliding, making out. Leads over to Sunrise, which, again, achingly romantic song that really... Like, if they had just added that in and nothing else, I probably would have forgiven most of the other things that they cut out from their storyline.
Sunrise would have been cool to film too. I'm sad they cut that out. Like, I feel like that would have been a cool sequence to have. But I just hate that line because he doesn't even apologize for it. It just makes him just look like an asshole, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
What really annoys me is, like, right before When You're Gone, she even says it looks so beautiful at sunset, and I was just like, you did that on purpose.
It could have been visually great with when the sun goes down to... Again, they're dancing on the side of the building!
It's so
and
cool!
It's so beautiful!
It's so good! This movie isn't afraid to do the weird thing, and it works for it!
Like 96,000. Oh my god,
Yes.
great.
They changed the Donald Trump lyrics.
Thank God.
To Tiger Woods instead.
Yes.
Listen, a good chunk of this adaptation is clearly kind of a middle finger to that particular era, like with the addition of the Dreamers storyline and stuff. So obviously, no.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, the way that they did, like, the sketches with, like, the lightsaber and the way that they do all those special effects with it, like, it just really is a really great use of not only are we going to be big and bold because it's a musical, but because we're using the medium of film, we're going to take advantage of that, and we're going to make it look even cooler than it already would on stage. Like, we're going to make it bigger and bolder.
I feel like any other director would just have it like the Broadway version, like have it in the street and in the neighborhood. I thought it was cool they made it in a different place. They made it at the public pool.
Yeah, it gave them a chance to do like some classic Hollywood water dancing and stuff. And, you know, with Lin-Manuel Miranda, you gotta have that song where everybody's singing on top of each other and it all fits together and you're like, whoa!
It's so good. Also, definitely perfect adaptation of Sunny's bit in that song, like, because it really is played off as more of a joke in the stage show, but nowadays I feel like that sort of youthful activism is taken a lot more seriously because, you know, a good chunk of it is actually kind of saving our asses right now. And it's played up as this triumphant moment, even if it does have the, you are so cute, but Sunny's flirting with the girl who says it. Good for him, honestly.
How old is Sunny supposed to be? He's supposed to be like a middle schooler, and now he's a grown woman. Also, I forgot Sunny's dad is Mark Anthony in this.
I know.
Sunny Red is like 17 to me.
Oh, okay.
His actor is 19 currently, if that helps.
Oh, damn.
I really like Sunny in this. I hope we get to see more of that actor.
He's in Vampires in Brooklyn, if anyone's looking for something spooky related for him.
His name is Gregory Diaz IV. He's fun. Although that does bring one little quibble that I've had with the film. I'm a little on what the timeline of this is, given the framing device of Usnavi talking to his daughter. Because that kid's what, 5?
It's a little yeah, I guess that is a little weird.
It's just a little iffy. Like, I could see this taking place in 2015 or 2016.
Yeah.
And so then the framing device is within 2021.
Yeah, that's more or less what I think.
That does also mean, I guess, they're in a branch reality where COVID never happened.
Why not, honestly?
Can I be there?
Can we go to there, please?
I don't have a problem with media not doing that. Like, not every piece of media needs to make it a thing.
The reason that I wondered about it is because when they're doing that Hispanic Heritage Month thing, happy Hispanic Heritage Month, by the way, everybody.
Yes!
That's part of why we're doing this, but they're listing off, you know...
Rita, Frida, Celia, Dolores, Isabel, Sandra, Julia, Roberta, Riverside.
Then at the very end, they add in Sonia Sotomayor. I'm like, they didn't want to add in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez too?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's part of what got me thinking about the timeline.
Okay, that's valid.
Okay, okay, I see what you're saying.
Honestly,
okay.
let's go into that framing device because that was so fucking smart.
It was.
Because for one thing, it keeps people who are new to the story in the dark, and fans like me are just like, wait a minute, did they change the ending? And no, they didn't. And it was so smart.
It was very cool. Like, I was so confused at the end. I was like, what's happening? I don't understand. I am the most confused. What is happening here? Did he move? I don't understand. Like,
oh my god, but the part where everybody's standing on the beach and they're singing and you're like, ah! No, Snappy, why did you leave?
Because it's about the fucking community. This is such a joyous love letter to this community that may be struggling but finds a way to support each other nonetheless.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite indicators of that is, you guys brought it up in the chat, so I'll turn it over to you to talk about it. Nina's hair?
Well, Nina's hair, when we first see her, it is straight. I'm assuming she's wearing like a perm or like a weave or something. When she is actually in the community, it becomes more textured, curlier, afro-textured. And it obviously like signifies that she's like comfortable, she's free, she's not so, in the beginning she came back from Stanford, so I'm sure she had to conform, and I'm sure like classmates, made fun of her hair texture and hair type.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all. I think like it's so powerful. I'm not Latina, but I am Black. It is powerful to like see that like on film, because even today it's like, even with like textured hair and you see it on screen, it usually is, well, the actress who plays Nina is light skinned, but it's usually like when you see textured hair, it's usually more like fine, more like curly, not more like afro textured. And it's just powerful to see how hair is a symbolism of conformity versus community. So yeah, I really like that. I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah, especially since the first scene we see her in, she's just all, let me listen to my block. Like, she's finally kind of feeling free from the way it was in Stanford, where she was presumed to be a waitress, even though she was in this nice cocktail dress for an event. She was searched because they assumed she stole her roommate's pearl necklace. Like, this is where she can absolutely be herself, even if she's wrestling with the fact that she feels like she's letting everybody down, as said in Breathe, my favorite song, probably. But at the very least, she's free, because even in Burnout, there is kind of a freedom in acknowledging, okay, so maybe I'm not who I thought I was going to be, so let's revert back to home, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Breathe?
I very much want to talk about Breathe. Again, this is one of my favorite songs. I've auditioned with this song. This song only gets more relevant to my life as I get older and recognize that, no, just because you were the smart kid in school doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have all the success you wanted, because I was the first person in my immediate family to graduate college. And yeah, other than my cousin Vicky in Germany, I was basically the first one in the States to finish college, and it didn't work out as well as I would have liked, unfortunately.
Yeah. Kids, I know we've all touted college as a milestone, but to be clear, college is an elitist institution that's going to suck you dry in more ways than one. So there's no shame in choosing not to go to college and pursuing something else you're passionate about. And there's nothing wrong with going to college if you know what you're passionate about.
And also, there's nothing wrong with you taking a different path than you thought you were, because frankly, the fact that they ask 18-year-olds to figure out what they're going to do with their lives is absolutely insane.
Trade school is an option, kids. Cosmetology, plumbing, carpentry. We need those things to make the world go round.
Gap years, community college, there's no shame in any of those if you want time to figure it out.
Follow your dreams.
Unless your dream is to be a landlord. Don't be a landlord.
Yes. Or a pig.
And we're getting emotional, and we haven't even gotten, like, we've gotten to Abuela, but not all the way to her. If you're
I love her song.
Paciencia y fe. God, the staging in the subway car and the dancers. And the
I love the
flickering
change
lights.
from the Broadway version, because in the Broadway version she belts out color, color, and in this version she's just like, it's just almost like a whisper. I thought that was a good change.
Oh yeah, no, like again, it's taking advantage of the magic of filmmaking. And hell, I find myself kind of chanting to myself "Paciencia y fe" sometimes when I'm stressed out, because it's a good thing to keep in mind. Like sometimes that's all you have. God. Olga Merediz, where is your Oscar?
Yeah, she could have gotten an Oscar nom for this. Or a Golden Globe. She could have gotten something.
And she took the stairs. She took the stairs, and the ramp was right there.
Asserting her
Claudia, mi amor, rest.
I think it was another asserting her dignity in quiet ways thing, because that lady was stubborn, you know?
Y'all, there's nothing wrong with using accessibility if you need it. There is dignity in accessibility.
Oh no, I don't disagree with that. That is fair.
No, I know. It's just that's another thing to unpack, the generational divides in what constitutes dignity.
That is so true. But
like even Nina brings it up. Like Nina's going back to Stanford to be like a badass activist.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, you know, an immigration rights lawyer. No money, plus it's a bummer, but good for her.
Yeah. Honestly love that for her. And that moment where Kevin is just like, this is the part where you do better than me. And I'm just, and what if I cried? What if I cried?
What if I lost it?
Hi, River.
What if my parents loved me?
I thought it was cool. They had like dark skin Afro-Latino dance during the number when she was talking about her childhood in Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like Afro-Latinos are rooted a lot in media regarding Latinos. Like, I have a friend in Venezuela, she talks about it a lot. But I thought that was really cool. I was like, I didn't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do remember that being a conversation that was being had when the movie was getting promoted.
Yep.
I remember like Rita Moreno put her foot in it and did the old lady wait your turn thing, which not a good look, Rita.
No.
Not a good look. And Melissa Barrera got a little flack for it as well, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a while, but I think it was something to the effect of it was the best choices for the role getting the parts that didn't really answer the question of, yeah, but who's getting into the audition room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sid's absolutely right. Like, Washington Heights has a lot of people that are darker skinned than, say, Leslie Grace is, and that is something that we need to kind of discuss, especially since I am of Afro-Latino descent, and how do I put this? A lot of my family is much, much darker skinned than a lot of the people there, and it is kind of a shame that aspect wasn't really properly represented here.
Can Jarrell Jerome sing? Can you imagine if he'd been in this?
Yes, I think he played Usnavi in a production.
Yeah, he did. That's true.
At a high school production or something.
Did, yeah. Which, thank God, because frankly, I'm sick and tired of hearing about all these white high schoolers doing it. Lynn, I get that you're okay with it if they learn about the culture, but frankly, no, you're wrong there.
I'm so glad I was not in high school for that. I still have regrets about doing Once on This Island.
I still have regrets about The King and I.
Oh.
Bestie, you were in elementary school. You didn't.
Middle, but
you could not have known.
Oh.
In the what?
Say it.
No. There is a bootleg called In the White, and it's like
No! I know!
No me diga.
It's all white high school kids doing In the Heights. And, you know, I'm not faulting them, they're children. I'm faulting the adults involved, obviously. But there is the student playing Abuela, and she says the sandwich from home. And people are like, what is home, Iowa?
I feel so bad for the children involved in this. What are we doing to our children?
Which is worse, doing an all-white high school production of In the Heights or illegal Jesus Hamilton? What am I even saying? It's illegal Jesus Hamilton.
But it's pretty fucking close. They're both very bad.
No, okay, bestie, I'm gonna say that, you know what? Illegal Jesus Hamilton isn't bad, but it's not as bad as In the Whites. No. It's
God.
egregious, but it's not at the same level of egregious.
PSA, drama teachers, head of drama societies, know your cast before you put on a show. Talent-wise, diversity-wise, if you have a lot of white kids or a lot of like non Latino kids, do not put on a production of In the Heights or West Side Story or any musical or play that has a mostly Hispanic cast.
For the
And
love
if
of
you-
God.
And if you are a mostly white drama club, also don't fucking touch Hairspray.
Or the Keegan Eye.
Like, guys,
Please.
Just-
It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Speaking of other musicals, the funny thing is, when I first saw the show, I heard people like comparing it to Rent, and I'm like, it's not really Rent. If anything, it's closer to Fiddler on the Roof when you think about it.
Yes, but in the words of a certain New York Times theater critic, it doesn't have enough drama or trauma to be on the level of something like Fiddler on the Roof or Les Miserables.
I don't know
I'm
if
sure
I
that
agree with
wasn't
that.
his actual quote, but he knows who he is, and he knows he's scum.
I don't think he's right. There's
Ugh.
quite a lot of trauma here. God.
Ugh.
Looking back, there was a lot of stuff that if I had known more about microaggressions back then, I would have been like,
Yeah, Sid, you are right, and you should say it. That this was 2021. This was the start of the year of generational trauma.
It was also a surprisingly good year for movie musicals. It's a shame most of them flopped.
Yeah.
Like, you got this, you got Tick Tick Boom, you got West Side Story, you got Encanto. I would definitely count Encanto. You got Annette. It occurs to me 3 out of 5 of those do involve Lin-Manuel Miranda, so good for you, Lin.
Like, maybe we just stop being afraid of admitting we have musicals. Todd!
What a concept!
It's so weird, because here's the thing.
Schmoney.
When musicals are marketed correctly, they make bank. It's only really recently when, for whatever reason, some motherfuckers decided they had to try to trick the people who don't like musicals into watching musicals that they've started doing badly.
Do we think that Wicked isn't advertising itself as a musical? Are we of that opinion?
They only really seem to be including Defying Gravity in the
And
trailers.
popular a little bit.
I'm still not sold on Wicked, personally, but my
That's
distaste for Ariana Grande is carrying a lot of that weight.
That's
That
fair.
and the colors looking like shit to me. But, fun fact, In the Heights, it has the same runtime that Wicked purportedly has of 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yep.
And that further makes me interrogate, so you managed to get In the Heights into 2 hours and 20 minutes, both acts, no problem, really solid movie, and yet you need 2 movies for Wicked. I don't know about that, bestie.
Wizard of Oz, we make time. Besties, let's go.
No!
Like, that has been my theory for a while, and it's only getting stronger the more I hear about this movie. Because, you know what, we're getting off topic, but I'll talk more about it because I am doing Oz Month in November.
Please remember to check out In Each Retelling, everybody, for Jazz's unbridled thoughts on that. And now, back to our discussion of In the Heights.
God, this movie's great.
Yeah, no, Vanessa, I think you can do better, but also 40 times the rent. 40 times the rent. What if I lost it? What if I screamed?
What if I
I love the
cried?
theme of gentrification. Like, in gentrification, obviously this musical came out in 2008, they were already talking about gentrification, but like gentrification now, like,
It's only gotten worse.
I had to get my parents to co-sign for my current apartment, and I think I'm the only one of us who isn't, like, having to rely on multi-generational housing right now.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's a problem. It's a problem. And then you add in the implied racism with that one lady that Vanessa spoke to, and it's just like,
Oh, fuck that lady.
fuck that lady so hard. And not in the fun
Step
way.
on a Lego every day of your life. May you always hit your shin on the coffee table in the dark and your bed frame in the dark every night.
Honestly, I know saying this makes me part of the problem, but I liked Vanessa's current apartment.
That's valid.
I'm sorry, I would kill for a small 1-bedroom all to myself where I can just sit and play my tabletops and do my podcasts, and my friends are in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with that.
I love you guys. I can't reach out through the internet and hug you.
I know.
I would like it if it didn't violently shake.
That too, yeah.
Hey, listen, free massage chair out of it.
Yeah.
It is interesting, though, going back to talking about how 2021 was kind of a good year for musical. Like, they were filming at the same time West Side Story was filming.
Mm-hmm. And that also was kind of deal with gentrification.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to think of those two as a package deal, especially because remember last episode when I was building up to what it was, I did the snaps, and at first, Jazz, you weren't sure which I was doing.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. I mean, when you think about, because when you think about it, West Side Story inspired Rent, and Rent inspired In the Heights. It's this beautiful chain of creativity.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
We got one, gang. We got one. Frankly, I was shocked that you didn't mention Finn when we were talking about Benny being sidelined.
There's different flavors to it. At least, okay, no, there's not different flavors to it. It's just I don't know Benny well enough to understand what we lost, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, if there's ever like a community production of In the Heights coming your way, definitely give it a go. Because I feel like it being not 100% professional almost adds to the charm.
As long as it's properly cast.
As long as it's properly cast, of course.
We talked about it earlier, but there was more of a storyline with like the anti-blackness, maybe even a little bit of classism, because Kevin also kind of looks down on him because I guess he's just, you're a poor black employee of mine, you don't own your own business like I do.
Yep.
There was more of a storyline with that. So that's kind of like what we lost, and I feel like that again, we talked about this earlier, but that would have been a good point to make, and I see why they changed that, but like that was basically Benny's thing. And also the fact that, he's dating his boss's daughter. So there's that too.
And also, like, there was that scene during the blackout where, they helped each other take care of the dispatch with cars, and I'm just like, this would have meant a lot more if we got any proper indication that Kevin didn't like Benny, but we really didn't.
The closest we got is him walking in on Pike having that meeting with Kevin, and Kevin's like, okay, get out, this isn't about you.
Yeah, although in fairness, there's no proof that Pike isn't Hades hanging out on Earth for some reason.
That is the weirdest way to visit Persephone, my dude.
Listen, he's sad and desperate, okay? We got 2 weeks and 1 day until he could see Persephone again.
The only other thing about Nina and Benny is I think they have a bit of a gap, like, age-wise. I might be confusing it with, like, the rough draft of the musical, like the demo version. But I think they do have a bit of a gap, so like there's that too. I don't think that was really explored in the movie, but yeah.
Also, in terms of the age gap thing, I think that was only like with the workshop, to be honest.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was really only with the workshop. I think they at the very least, severely de-emphasized it. And it is implied they did go to high school together, so there's that at least.
Like, you can, this is really a musical you can talk about, like, all day. Oh, Danielle and Carla, we didn't talk about how they're a couple now.
Yeah,
let's go lesbians.
Let's go. They kept it really subtle, probably so they could cut it out in countries that wouldn't allow it, but it is there. And I can tell you right now, as somebody who did frequent the In the Heights fan fiction tags on the various websites, Daniela and Carla was one of the most popular ships. So we won, guys. We won.
I love Stephanie Beatriz in this role in general, partially because it's such a departure from, this was one of her first roles breaking away from the Rosa Diaz of it all.
Yes. It seems like she's been determined to not do Rosa again since then, and frankly, good for her.
Valid. They played the clips so often of her going,
my mom is Dominican, Cuban, my dad is from Chile and PR, which means I'm Chile, Dominican, Rican. But I always say I'm from Queens.
In so many of the trailers, I'm like, that is the most adorable thing. Like,
yeah,
she's so fun. She's so energetic.
And Daphne Rubin Vega, like, I obviously, as an admitted renthead, obviously I've known of Daphne Rubin Vega for a very long time, but it really feels like it's only recently that she's really ripened in a way, I guess, in terms of her performance. Like, I have mixed feelings about her as Mimi. Loved her as Daniela. No notes.
Yeah, she's great, but also, fuck, we haven't really talked about Lynn.
True.
We've avoided the popsicle cart of the room.
Little chaos gremlin.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
Mr. Softy truck in the room.
I'll admit I had a lot more Mr. Softy as a kid than any Piragua, but I do indeed miss both of those things. I'll admit I was part of the problem.
A piragua, that's like shaved ice with syrup, or
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a snow cone?
Kind of. Not like quite,
Okay.
but close enough.
yeah, I've never been able to get into snow cones because like they're hard, but the way he's scraping the ice made it seem like it would be fluffier. Is that the case, or
I would say so, yeah. Like, it definitely is different texture-wise.
Oh, the snow cones I've always had have been super fluffy because you crush it, like you grind
Yeah.
it. You crush and grind it.
I need to
Never
find
been
better
hard.
snow cones.
You
Maybe.
clearly do.
Lynn is having so much fun, and Lynn having fun is the best Lynn.
Mhm.
Correct.
The reprise when he actually faces the Mr. Softy guy, or was it the actual song?
Yep. The Mr. Softy's truck has broken down.
Also another symbol of gentrification.
Yep, that's what it's all about.
Wait, is Mr. Softy the symbol of gentrification, or is it the Piraguero driving up the price of the shaved ice?
Mr. Softy, but
The Parago guy is just trying to survive. I'm not knocking his hustle.
Chaos Gremlin.
he is. We need more Lynn playing Chaos Gremlins, in my humble opinion. This has really been, the past couple weeks, has reminded me, oh, that's right, the guy is actually really talented. And for any valid criticisms that we have, let's face it, the people who've been loudest about hating on him only latched onto that as an excuse because, God forbid, a man have fun, right?
Yeah, like, it's fine that you had a Hamilton phase, okay? It's fine. The point is to learn and to grow out of it.
And also, the music does indeed slap, and it is okay to like things that are problematic. Just because they're problematic doesn't mean
Everything
they're
is
not good.
problematic. There is no unproblematic media.
It's kind of fun, honestly, to listen to In the Heights, having been introduced to Hamilton first, and hear the musical cues that Lynn really, really likes and keeps using. Like, he'll do that thing of, like, there's the hard chord, and then I'm speaking in the rhythm, and the music's building under me. There's these certain specific chords that are coming, and I'm not musically gifted. I got a 2 on my AP Music Theory. I don't understand composition, but I know a Lin-Manuel Miranda song when I hear it.
Damn right. Yeah.
And that's a good thing that BT has a niche that he is filling, that he has a thing that we know him for, that he's good at, and that you can recognize him by.
I mean, hell, the whole reason he got into this is because he was trying to write roles that he could do. And people like him could do, because there wasn't a lot.
And by God, do we not always yell at people, if you don't like what you see, write it your fucking self.
That is true.
We yell at people to write it them damn selves, and then when they do, we yell at them for that. You cannot have it both ways. Pick a lane.
Is there anything else we haven't covered in this wonderful, wonderful, colorful, joyful, heart-wrenching musical?
God damn it gave me Yosnavi and Vanessa as parents. Like, that, the finale is one of my favorite finales in all of musical theaters, to be honest. I will catch myself singing it to myself to cheer myself up a lot, especially take a train to the top of the world and I'm there, I'm home. It is adapted. I can't imagine a way it could have been adapted better, honestly. Like, it might be the most perfect translation of that joyous moment where Yusnavis decides, wait a minute, oh, I can still be happy in my home.
Oh shit, I forgot about Champagne. That's like a whole last one take.
And they sang it live, too.
And again, Champagne is one of the greatest metaphors of modern theater, I think.
Men will move to a foreign country before talking about their feelings or going to therapy.
Well, Abuela Claudia was his therapy.
Yeah.
Don't do that to your abuelas.
Yeah. She needed to not be stressed out.
Unless you're Rebel Madrigal, then maybe do talk to your abuela about your feelings.
Yeah.
If you're a Madrigal in general, talk to your abuela.
Yeah, it's wild how Olga Merdiz played both the most beloved abuela of that year and arguably the most hated abuela of that year. Even if
the most divisive abuela.
The most divisive, yeah, because she does not deserve the hate. We'll get into that if we ever cover Encanto, which I'm sure we will. But
singing voice only, but yeah.
That's true. But yeah, just the fact that, Usnavi's whole problem is that he is constantly focusing on, working towards a dream, and he can't see what's right in front of him, and champagne is the perfect metaphor for it, and it's so good.
Also, he wasn't even really listening to Sonny, like, still trying to go behind his back and get him to come back to the DR.
Yeah.
Bad cousin. Bad.
In fairness, you could argue he's kind of being parentified in that regard. Although he is almost 30, isn't he? So never mind.
Yeah. Are we all ready to answer that question? Does this movie have more flows than Obi-Wan Kenobi, yo? Is the Force with it?
Yes.
Yes, see.
Yes, let's go.
Gonna say 96,000% the Force is with it.
Woo!
No tiptoeing. Who has something they would like to plug?
Find me on social media in my link tree below.
Free Congo, free Sudan, free Haiti. Pay attention to what's happening in Venezuela. We love you, Venezuela. Free Palestine, obviously.
Fuck yeah.
I second that wholeheartedly. Well, thirded now, since Sam said fuck yeah, actually. But
I fourth it.
hell yeah. And I am also the host of In Each Retelling, the podcast where we explore all the ways old tales are made new. You can find us wherever pods are cast. And you can find me at Faye Riviera on all the socials.
As for me, I will ask that you keep the spirit of Star Wars alive by supporting artists through the Entertainment Community Fund, and by taking action to support anti-imperial and anti-colonial movements across the globe, partially by using links provided below, and by taking action in your community. And you can find me on the wider internet as La Femme Fictionale, including on YouTube, Twitter, and Tumblr, where you can also find the blog for this show. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the two girls' one-beat synth-pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility. And consider joining Patreon, where you can get early access to our bi-weekly recaps of The Acolyte as it airs. And now it's time to turn to the Chance Cube to decide where our journey takes us next. Jazz, I know that you have attained the rank of knight, and so you have the choice to choose a degree, but given you've been on the last 5 episodes, I will pull a different Hamilton card and ask that you take a break.
I promise, no matter how much I love whatever it is you have, I will back off. 6.
Ooh, it's a 6.
It is a 6, which means next up is noise. Interesting.
Well, that's not one I've ever heard of, so you are safe from me.
We'll see you all next time to cover noise. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful, and may the Force be with you.
Y conti.